Islam. Alright, I think we was at Operation Mind Control or something like that. So that's where we're gonna pick up. The camera gonna, shut off. It got too high, it overheated, okay? So we're gonna pick right back up with Operation Mind Control. Islam. So this is written by Operation Mind Control is written by Walter Bohr. What they attempt to do is artificially induce such conditions of psychological collapse and mental breakdown. The result was a theory of mass brainwashing involving group experience that can be used to alter the values of individuals and through that induce through time changes in the axiomatic assumptions that govern a given society. All right. Carl Lewin then stated, okay, that if emotion can be induced on a widespread basis into a society, that society reverts back to a tabula rasa, a blank slate, a situation where control can easily be instituted from an external point. By the creation of a controlled chaos, the populace can be brought to a point where it willingly submits or consents, that's what they say, consents, to a outside control. According to William Sargent, various types of beliefs can be implanted after brain function has been sufficiently disturbed by deliberately inducing emotion and excitement, as sports or any other excitement thing like movies or TV shows or something like that. Okay, so they're just explaining how they go about implanting beliefs after they present something maybe traumatizing or shocking to the observer. Okay. Aldous Huxley stated that men and women can be conditioned by reading daily newspapers, amplified loud band music, bright lights, and demagogues. Now, a demagogue is a political leader, okay? And they can be reduced to a state of mindless subhumanity. Alright, now that's not necessarily true, but what they're trying to say is that they can be put in a state of trance where they're no longer functioning in their natural state anymore. They're not functioning in a state of outside of the natural state, okay? The next is Committee 300 and Tavistock Institute. Okay? Committee 300 and Tavistock Institute. That's the book, Operation Mind Control, right there. Okay? So, continuing on here, we have Theodore Adorno from the radio research at Tavistock stated, listeners to radio music programs fluctuate between comprehensive forgetting and lacks of recognition. They listen automatically and disassociated from what they hear. They are not childlike, but childish. Their primitivism is not that of the underdeveloped, but that of the forcibly retarded. Okay? So they forcibly, through this music, like rock and roll and stuff like that, they slow down. That's what retard means, to slow down their natural functioning to get them to function in the way that they're not naturally designed to function. Alright? Alright. I am, right? This is what my brothers and sisters understand this, okay? Because this is the most important thing I'm doing. The most important thing I'm doing is to get this information out, okay? No one has to believe it. You don't have to buy into it. But I must do my part to share what I know and what I found. Okay? Islam. According to Hal Becker, he said, quote, "Let me control television. You put something on television and it becomes reality. If the world outside the TV set contradicts the images, people start trying to change the world to make it like the TV set images." Okay? I'm not saying that's true, but I'm just presenting the information. Okay, just presenting information. Islam family. Islam. All right. Committee 300 in Tavistock. The Committee 300 is a group that was founded by the British aristocracy in 1737. The committee is the international council of that organizes politics, religion, commerce, banking, media, that means the TV, the newspaper, and the radio, and the military for the purpose of manipulating people for centralized corporation commercial efforts. Okay, this includes the internet too. Okay, all right. Tavistock Institute in Public Relations is a propaganda creating and disseminating organization centered at Wellington House. Its intention was to shape opinions and create an outlet that would lower the public resistance that they would encounter concerning the conflict between Britain and Germany. This is WW1, WW2. Okay? Funding was provided by the British royal family and the Rothschilds and Rockefellers. Okay? So even though they didn't want to do it, they was all working together. They were working together to get this thing going. Okay? Now we have the deliberate dumbing down of America. Okay? This is a book written by Charlotte Iserbyt, as she worked as a senior policy advisor in the Office of Educational Research and Improvement during her first Reagan administration. She presented facts about how the United States socially engineers and systematically goes about suppressing or trying to suppress the intellect of millions of children for the purpose of leading the people into a socialist, business-centered world corporation controlled by behavior and social scientists. Okay? The education system, founded by John D. Rockefeller in 1903, is devoted to training children to become compliant human resources to be used by government and industry for their own purposes. They want to train the children to become servants of their government or the corporation. The corporation, pseudo-government, is not really government. The government is the people. The government is principles, law, truth, harmony, balance, equality, all right, justice. So the pseudo-government, if they're not promoting that, they're not government. All right, it's more of a tyranny. It's more of a pseudo-government, okay? It pretends to be government, but it's really not government, okay? The corporation wants to plan the lives of children. The new reforms at work simply uses methods like whole language, mastery learning, direct instruction, Skinnering, operant conditioning. I'm not sure what that is. All of that have created learning imbalances that are diagnosed as ADD, attention deficit disorder, and the drugging of 4 million children with the powerful drug Ritalin. Okay? And when they get to the adults, they graduate from Ritalin and go to alcohol, weed, marijuana, tobacco, coffee, sugar or cocaine, sometimes even prescription pills now, like Oxycontin was a huge one from when I was growing up in college. Oxycontin was huge. So just sharing, presenting what I seen with my own 2 eyes, okay? All right, this is what I saw. All right. Alright, and now we got a few pictures here of the sex and the drugs and the conflict and how they're trying to how can I say, how they're trying to get people to think like robots here. Alright, and how man is devolving. And how man is evolving into a barcode. Okay. This is the policy that has been going on. Okay. And then you have in 1917, you had Trading with the Enemies Act was passed. This act stated that trade is restricted with countries hostile to the United States. The United States declared its own inhabitants as enemies, thus requiring everyone to get permission or a license to do anything and everything. Okay? In 1934, you had a brother by the name of Louis McFadden had made a speech regarding the bankruptcy and the corrupt government. He brought formal charges against the Board of Governors and the Federal Reserve Bank system, the Comptroller of Currency, and the Secretary of the United States Treasury for numerous criminal acts including, but not limited to, conspiracy, fraud, unlawful conversion, and treason. As of today, these charges have not been acted on. Okay. Moving on, we have in 1984, you had the King Alfred Plan. The King Alfred Plan was created to prepare for a minority uprising. It states that there will be many cities, but a minority will be able to put into a street a superior number of people with a desperate and dangerous will. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage and knows that political asylum will not be available to him in any other countries. Alright? Thus, they understand that there's a certain branch who are not Indians and they're not Europeans, yet they are bound to the continent by heritage. That they inherit the continent through their ancestry. Alright? And they will rise up one day and take it back. Alright? And so they're trying to plan for that. Alright? With these procedures, Operation Mind Control, dumbing down of America, propaganda. Okay? They can't stop it because they know it's not designed that way. But they're trying to prepare for it. If and when that transition happens, it happens in a way where our European brothers and sisters are not being put back in servitude. Because they don't deserve that. Nobody does. Okay? So this is what's going on. Okay? Then you have, in 1933, you had the James Traficant speech. He made a speech regarding the bankruptcy of the United States. He states that the United States federal government has been dissolved, and that to suspend the gold standard and abrogate the gold clause dissolve the sovereign authority of the United States in all U.S. governmental offices, all U.S. governmental officers, all U.S. governmental departments, all right, they all are functioning in name only, okay, name only, all right, but there's no substance behind that, okay. Thus, it's very important to understand these politics and these policies that are going on right now, all right, and why they're doing it. They don't want to do it, and they don't enjoy doing it. They don't want all of these to be projecting these bright lights and loud sounds and emotions and drugs and sex and guns and knives. And they're like, no one likes doing that. No human likes doing that. Okay? But they're doing it because they have also been compromised, and this is a way where they can continue to function and do commerce and trade and try to regulate the people at the same time. Okay? It's not personal, it's just business. Alright? And some of these brothers and sisters who are doing this were mistreated, thus they're trying to mistreat others in response of their mistreatment. Okay? So that's what's going on. Alright. Alright. Okay. Now. What we about to do now is get into this document called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. Okay? I'm gonna read a lot of it. It's a lot of it, y'all. It's a lot. So I'm gonna try to be as brief as I can be, but it might take a whole nother video to get through this. Alright. The following document was dated May 1979 and found on July 7th, 1986 on an IBM copier that had been purchased at a surplus sale. Okay, from what they say. Okay, I don't know. I didn't find this information, but I started searching for the truth and everything else, and this is some of the information that was presented to me. Okay, so I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? And it's interesting of what I found. All right. First paragraph stated security. Okay, security. Okay. It is patently impossible to discuss social engineering or the automation of a society, i.e., the engineering of social automation systems, silent weapons, i.e., computers, on a national or worldwide scale without implying extensive objectives of social control, i.e., slavery or servitude, and genocide, i.e., fighting, wars, stuff like that. Alright? So, those who are specifically chosen to be a part of this group are those who have been chosen because of their ability to look at human society with a cold objectivity and yet analyze and discuss the observations and conclusions with others on similar intellectual capacity without the laws of discretion or humility. Such virtues are exercised in one's own best interests and do not deviate from them. Okay. It says silent weapon technology has evolved from operations research, a strategic and tactical methodology developed under the military management in England during WW2. The original purpose of operations research was to study the strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense with the objective of effective use of limited military resources, okay, against foreign enemies. Okay. In 1954, it was well recognized by those in positions of authority that it was only a matter of time, only a few decades, before the general public would be able to grasp and upset the cradle of power. For the very elements of this new silent weapon technology were as accessible for a public utopia as they were providing a private utopia. Okay? Moving on, energy. Energy is recognized as the key to all activity on Earth. Natural science is the study of the sources and control of natural energy. And social science, therefore, expresses, or as economics, is the science of sources and control of social energy. Both are bookkeeping systems, mathematics. Therefore, mathematics is the primary energy science. And the bookkeeper can be king if the public can be kept ignorant of the methodology of the bookkeeping. Okay? In 1954, this was the issue of primary concern. Although the so-called moral issues were raised in the view of law and natural selection, it was agreed that a nation of world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. There's no such thing, but go ahead. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. Okay, that's not true, but they're going to seek to take advantage of those who do not seek to use their own intelligence, basically. It goes on to say, consequently, in the interest of future world order, peace and tranquility, it has nothing to do with peace and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public with the ultimate objective, the United States citizens basically, with the ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, the true wealth, and the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. Okay? In order to implement this objective, it is necessary to create, secure, and apply new weapons, which, as it turned out, were a class of weapons so subtle and sophisticated in their principle of operation and public appearance as to earn themselves the name silent weapons. Okay? In order to achieve a totally predictable economy, the lower class, this is the true purpose of why they created this, is to try to engineer and control society. It's all about controlling society or trying to manipulate others, okay? In order to achieve a totally predictable economy, the low-class elements of society must be brought under total control, i.e. must be housebroken, trained, and assigned a yoke of long-term social duties from a very early age, before they have the opportunity to question the propriety of the matter. In order to achieve such conformity, the lower class family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the establishment of government-operated daycare centers for the occupationally orphaned children. Okay? So you can see what they're trying to do. Alright? They want to train and disintegrate the family from within. Okay? And then keep the parents preoccupied. All right. And once the parents are preoccupied, you know what I'm saying, then they'll be able to institute and steer the children to where they would like the children to go. Okay? The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort, so that the mote of ignorance isolating the inferior class from the superior class is and remains incomprehensible to the inferior class. With such an initial handicap, even bright lower class individuals have little, if any, hope of extricating themselves from their assigned lot in life. Interesting. This form of servitude, involuntary servitude, is essential to maintain some measure of social order, peace, and tranquility for the ruling upper class. Okay? Now, truthfully, we all know that this ain't got nothing to do with peace and tranquility. This is not how you achieve peace and tranquility, by giving people poor education, government-operated daycare centers, and signing people an early lot in life. That's not social order, peace, and tranquility at all. But they put it in there to try to make it sound nice. It has everything to do with manipulation and trying to control the thoughts, minds, and actions of individuals. Alright, for a small group of people sitting somewhere, alright, where they can rake in the funds, because they are really not in the position that they're in. They just are in a pseudo position where they can print credit and then manipulate that credit, basically. Okay, the use of it. All right. All right. So it says this: quiet weapons. Quiet weapons project situations instead of projectiles, like you say, bullets and cannons and stuff like that. It is projecting or propelled by data processing. Instead of a chemical reaction like in science or an explosion, right? They're originating from bits of data. Instead of grains of what you call a gunpowder, they're doing it from a computer. Instead of a fire stick or a gun, quote unquote, they're operating by a computer programmer. Okay, instead of a person doing it, okay, it's under the orders of a banking magnate, like the Federal Reserve Bank or something like that. Not a military general anymore. Okay. Thus, it's very important to understand how they're shifting there from the human aspect to the computer aspect. Okay. All right. Moving on. A quote by Mayor Amstel Rothschild said, "Give me control over the nation's currency and I don't care who makes the laws, because he can manipulate the people through manipulating the currency." Okay? He can bring it up, he can bring it down. He can control how much they print out, he can control how much they receive in. Alright? Thus manipulating how much finance someone has. You can manipulate how much somebody spends. Okay? Manipulate where people go. Okay? By driving the price up or bringing the price down. Okay? So it's very important to understand what's going on. Alright? Now it's about 30 minutes, so I'm going to pause this part 2. And we're going to move into part 3. next time. Peace and love, family. Peace and love.